We're just also going to speak to Dion Meechan about the recent closure of Snuff the Wind. And Dion, you've obviously ridden there for many, many years. I imagine you probably learnt to ride there to some extent. What sort of an impact does this closure have on the motorcycling community, the off-road motorcycling community in the Isle of Man?
Yeah, Ed, you're quite right. I can't remember the exact year I first started riding there, probably about 1992, maybe, 91. And like many other people, we cut our teeth in Russian mines, very open, very accessible, and very central to the island. So I lived in the south, very easy for me to get to. And yeah, no, it's a fantastic facility which has been enjoyed for decades by lots of different people, all hours of the day, no restrictions. It's been, it's been a fantastic facility for young people to start riding on.
You said there about any time of the day and no restrictions. I mean, how important is something like that for when you're younger and you're trying to ride? Are the places that you can do that sort of thing very limited over here then?
Well, no, I think it's huge, and my mum and dad will kill me for saying this, but when you're a child, you rely on your parents to take you somewhere. So if it is open pretty much all the time, and you can drop a hat, you can go there. If you're in the mood that you can go there, then you can do it, and therefore it becomes a lot more accessible. So yeah, and not to change the subject too much, what we talked about before, and I know a few of us have spoken about the facility and what it's like. We were just talking in the studio a minute ago about this. The surface, in my opinion, is really important, because no matter how much you ride it or how much the weather hits it, it stays consistent all the time. So yeah, that's why I think it's one of the reasons it's so good.
What's the alternative for people now that that's been closed over here? Is there anywhere else for you to go?
Well, my understanding is there's nothing like the mines over here at all, and the government, I know, have closed it. Well, definitely decided to close it. I don't know the ins and outs of why they've done it. Well, I know a little bit about it. But as well, I understand that there's been no offer of other land to use. And speaking from the schoolboy club, there's certainly nobody spoke to us about it and said, perhaps we could use this land here or try there.
So you had no sort of forewarning about this? You didn't know that it was coming? You weren't asked your thoughts on it? Nothing like that?
The first time I read it was when Manx radio reported it on Thursday, and they said it's going to be closed on Monday morning, and issued some of the reasons. Tim Baker, I believe, said wasteland, and they believed that some of the dust created could harm some of the riders using it, which is a bit strange, really. You announced that on Thursday, and yet you're willing to let people ride it until Monday, so it couldn't have been that severe.
We've also seen quite a few high-profile people not be happy about this online. John McGinnis for one, David Knight for another. The island has bred these champions over the years, and I imagine they will have, not John McGinnis obviously, but David Knight and his brother, who had British Championships, the McCanny boys. I imagine all these lads have started out there, or at least ridden there, haven't they, at some point or other?
Absolutely right. The list is pretty much endless. I mean, you've got David, who's an exceptionally talented motorcyclist, and more so, I mean, again, he may forgive me for this, 10 years ago, he was miles above everyone else in the world, and I don't think the Isle of Man quite really got to grips with that. Only now, looking back, you see how good he actually was. And he said he rode that a lot, loved it, cut his teeth there as well, like his brother, multiple-time British champion. The list goes on. Conor Cummins rode there. Dan Neen, we talked about John McGinnis riding there. Johnny Ray, we talked about, he's been up there with his kids. So it'll be sorely missed.
Do you know then, at this moment, can you anticipate what sort of an impact this may have in terms of, well, the island's ability to produce riders in future even?
It's like any sport. It would be like having a table tennis hall or a snooker hall or a badminton hall. If you have one place to practice, or one accessible place to practice, and then you just closed it, what would happen to the sport? What would happen to the table tennis players or the badminton players?
So the tracks, for example, up at Balgarrigan, they can't be used at just any time. People can't just go up there and do what they want there. That's for organised competition. Yeah,
there's restrictions on it due to planning, so it can't be used at any times. It's set dates, set times. It's all very planned, all very organised.
And it's not our land either, is it? It's land
right.
that we have to hire to. So that's a big problem, isn't it? That other than the Ramsey and the Preville Club, the motorcycle clubs don't have their own land, so entirely dependent on the good nature of landowners, really.
What, if any, then are the plans of the motorcycling community to try and do something about this? Have you got meetings planned, protests, anything like that?
Well, I'm sure you've been following it, Ed. Jimmy Cumber's been really vocal on this, and I mean, I know Jimmy well through motorcycling, and I know him from growing up and so on. And it seems, it's really, really getting some traction. Lots of people are interested. I understand he's called a public meeting. He's asked for a lot of the MHKs to attend. I know I've asked our MHKs, Lawrence and Dewan, to attend. I think it's held at the Vagams Rugby Club next Thursday, I think it's going to be. And there's just hundreds and hundreds of people have commented and saying how shocked and how upset they are by what's happening.